Hi, this is Roger in Finland, and today we're gonna take a look at my totally over the top for what I need and what I do rig for the Zcam E2-S6. Before we get started, a couple of disclaimers. First one is that this video is not sponsored by anyone and everything here I bought myself. The second one is that I am not a videographer, I'm not a cinematographer, I don't do music videos, I just do videos for fun. I just happen to enjoy it very much. And I've been loving using Zcam cameras, and that's why I'm using them. And that's it. Just for those concerned with these things, I am not pretending to be anything I'm not. Now we're being filmed with the Zcam E2-C with a 12mm from Olympus f2 at f2, and this B-roll is done with the A6400 with a Sigma lens. But let's get into the S6, which is the interesting thing for today. This is the Zcam E2-S6, one of the flagship cameras, one of the flagship models. The cage is the basic small rig cage, and then I do have the short Nitze adapter thingy that bolts into the body itself of the camera. That allows you to then mount a V-mount battery on the back, and the V-mount battery that I use is the only one I have, and you might have seen in some other videos. This is the FX Lion Nano 1. I got this Nitze attachment thing, the bigger one, the one that you can fit a SSD, because sometimes I might use the Samsung T5 to record from the S6. I know, not recommended, I don't use high frame rates, everything I've done with it, it's been just fine. I just do happy things, I'll be okay, don't worry about that. This plate is the Nitze as well, V-mount battery plate, and this one is not a dummy one like the one I use with the E2-C. So the cable goes straight into this plate, and then when you mount the battery, everything is here. The cable, same one that I use in the E2-C rig, is the Alvin's cable, angled Limo 2-pin 2 D-tap, and as said, with this setup, this works really well. The cables get actually pretty well hidden, and that's about it when it comes to power. Then the HDMI cable is a ZILR cable. It is one of the cables that are recommended when people have issues with HDMI connections in these cameras, and I like it very much. That is actually pretty thin and it's easy to mount. I have it here in the side with two of these sprig cable thingies, which they are a little bit overpriced, but they are very nice to keep things tidy. The cable is going to this monitor, which is a Fieldworld LUT6. Nice size, nice feature, nice touchscreen, still somewhat reasonably priced. I don't have the SDI version because this camera does not have SDI on its own. You would have to add the module and whatnot. So the HDMI is definitely more than good enough for me. Then one question is how to power this monitor. Because I have burned once a HDMI connection from a Blackmagic Pocket 4K camera, I'm a bit paranoid on how to do these things. The recommendation is to not power the monitor straight from the same source that you're powering the camera, and then there's a certain order on how you should plug things. But what I do, and what I read also within the Facebook group from Zcam, is to use the power output from the camera itself to power the monitor, that being OK solution. And that's what I do. It's one cable as well from Alvin's. It's an angled cable on the Limo side in the camera in here. Goes again through this cable management and then straight into the monitor. And this allows me to just use either the V-mount battery, or more often than not, when I'm filming these videos, I do actually plug the camera to the socket. So basically I just use the D-tap adapter from here, and instead of mounting it to the Nitze place, I plug it to the wall. Not D-tap, but you know what I mean. And in that way, I have just one way to power this thing that safely so powers also my monitor. Side handle, at some point it would be really nice to get one of those revolver clutch things that can control stuff. that would go then into the rosette in the front. But for now, I'm more than happy with this small rig handle here. It's far away enough from the body that it's easy and comfortable to hold. It's also far away from the body enough that if I would need to use the audio in and out, which I never do with it, but if I would need to, I could. They're accessible, and still I had space to mount this magic arm to mount the monitor, which is the next bit of this puzzle. In general, I don't quite like those small ball joint head things to mount monitors because of several reasons. One of them, the movement that they do, it's a bit limited for what I want to do, and this is just a personal preference. And the second or main complaint I have is that many times they are mounted on top of the handle, making these rigs super high, and I just dislike that very much. I wanted a solution that I can keep the monitor most of the time about this position and about this angle, which is really nice when I'm holding it from the handle itself, or if this is sitting on my lap on a pillow, which is something that I do often since I use this to film my dog and my kids, Sumi. And then for the moments and days, which is again my usual setup, except today that I'm showing this off and filming with A2C, I use this Zcam E2-S6 as my main camera for these videos. And what I do in those cases is just turn this around, and I have perfectly a front-facing monitor to monitor myself while talking to camera. This monitor does have the automatic flip thing, and in this way it's much easier to keep the cables always in this side plugged from this way, and this is really easy. Then another position that I like to use the monitor sometimes is if I do some B-roll or something, I like to have the monitor down here or in this side, so we can do that as well very easily with this arm. Just careful with the cables, and there you go. Now you can be filming things in here while you're standing on that side watching the monitor nicely. The cables are still neatly organized here. This is not pulling much really, and if it bothers me, I can just pull it off from that sprig. I'll just put it back, and that's about it. These three positions, they are really easy to achieve with this magic arm. I'm gonna leave it in my favorite usual position, which is this one. The magic arm, which I talked about, a similar one in the E2C video that might have come before or after this one. As you could see, it was really easy to get into any of these three positions, which are the ones that I use most, easily and then very safely. And safely is the key here. I have some other cheap magic arms from no brands or whatever, and they don't hold in place really well. Here, both the connections to the camera body and the monitor, they are super solid, but the bit that I like the most is this joint here. This joint, it has a rosette style joint, which means that both things do click in place and stay there as soon as you twist this a little bit. So it's very, very stable on that joint, and actually the ball joints in the other two ends, they're also really stable. This is really great. The odd thing here is that you can see that I have a short section and a long one. The reason is that when I was rigging this up, I tried to rig it with the small and small magic arm combination, but there is one situation that sometimes I might do that I was not able to, which is this one. Getting the monitor just or fully on top of the handle. That's useful if you have the camera like fairly high on a tripod or so at eye level. In my case, eye level, well, I'm 6'3", 192, so it gets pretty high, but anyway, that's an option. And if I had the arm with the two short sections, it did not get not high enough. However, if I get the arm with the two long sections, it was actually freakishly long. It's really, really, really long, and then it was quite awkward to maneuver. So what I did was to get one short arm, one long arm, dismantle them, and then basically build two of these hybrid sized arms. So there we go. Here's one long section, one short section, and this to me is the perfect length to mount this monitor to this camera with this setup that serves my needs perfectly fine. Great magic arms for small rig. Still, the video is not sponsored by anyone. I just like to talk about the products that I use and that I do enjoy and that they serve the purpose. I might have some links to some of these pieces down below. Those will be affiliate links, and if you decide to purchase through those, then it's a way to help the channel. If not, please purchase these things however you want. I'm just recommending the stuff that I believe that works well. So there we go, a pretty nice rig. It's nice to hold, is well balanced, especially with my favorite lens, which is this 25mm from Meike, and I'm planning to get maybe some other of these Meike lenses, because the ones from 25mm upwards of the T2.2 range in micro four thirds mount cover Super 35 sensor, which is the size of the sensor of this camera. So these are pretty perfect. This handle is super comfortable. It's one of the new ones that attaches via relocating pins from small rig. And then with this handle, getting the battery close to my body, this is stable enough to operate. You'll notice that I do not have a follow focus attached here. There's nothing on the base other than a Manfrotto plate, which goes to the Manfrotto fluid head that I use, but I don't have anything else. If I need to use a follow focus, or if I want to, because I don't quite need to, I can still attach it from different places in the cage, but that might be a reason to make another rig video, because as we have established, I am a serial rigger. But there you go, my Zcam E2-S6, total overkill for what I do, which is fun stuff, videos when I feel like. I go and have a walk and take pictures of and videos of flowers and the snow and my kids and my dog, and then doing these YouTube videos. The images are so good, it's so fun to use, it's so fun to rig, that I hope nobody gets offended that I love to use this rig for what I do. And if somebody else, I'm really sorry for you. So here you go. This is how I rig my Zcam E2-S6 for my purposes. Overkill is underrated. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and we're gonna see you soon for some more content.